Hello, and welcome back to the Global Falcons podcast, where we interview entrepreneurs through storytelling to bring you the knowledge needed to conquer your life. I'm Andrew L.G. Hunter.
And I'm Angela Hunter.
And we're here with Carmen Kerr with the Mortgage Group. Thank you for coming, and we're excited to have you.
Thank you.
I nailed that intro. We're going to keep going.
Okay. So we usually start with just who is Carmen, and tell us about what you do.
Well, like you said, my name's Carmen Kerr, and I'm with TMG, and I started Kerr Mortgage. Kind of how I got into it, I was 24 when I bought my first house.
Nice.
Yeah, it was not easy.
No.
I bet. 24, wow.
Yeah, so I decided that I wanted to buy my own house, and my family kind of thought I was nuts. And they're like, no, you're too young, you can't handle that, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, no, I know this is what I want to do. So I had a full-time job, and then I had a cleaning job, and I would clean offices after hours, and that would take me till 6:30ish if I rushed. And then I worked at Extra Foods, and I would work there from like 7 to 11 doing inventory and stuff. And then I would get up, do it all over again. And it was a lot. But I did that for a couple months, and I saved up enough for a down payment and found my first house. And it was rough. It was a fixer-upper for sure. I remember when we went into the bathroom, if you look down, you could see straight into the basement. The floor was so rotten. So, but I was happy. It was mine, and I did it on my own. And kind of over time, I fixed it up, and now I still have it as a rental property. And looking for the next.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
I love that.
Exciting.
And the story with the hole, we can totally relate to that.
Yeah.
We've had homes like that too. It's always the bathroom or the kitchen that goes first, right?
Yeah.
Because they're hit with the water and all the other problems and the most traffic, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I can't believe you worked. So that was 3 jobs. That's intense.
Yeah, it was intense.
That must have been.
And I think
super
that's when my
stressful.
family kind of realized how serious I was about this. And they're like, you need to slow down. I'm like, no, I got to get my down payment. And so.
Wow, that can be really hard.
It was hard, but looking back, I'm so glad I did it.
No kidding.
And then I dropped the Extra Foods inventory job, and then I did cleaning for like 10 years after that. I worked 2 jobs.
Wow.
Yeah. So full time, and then in the evenings, and that gave me enough money to renovate the home. And
Renovations are not cheap.
no,
Yeah,
they're not.
It's stressful to buy the house, and then when you get it, you have to do the renovation.
Yeah,
That's
but
a
it's
whole
also
nother
fun
level.
too, right?
Yeah, that's true. I love
So definitely learned a lot about how to paint, how to do drywall, and
You did a lot of it yourself?
a lot of it. Yeah. YouTube saved me.
Yeah.
And family.
It's so amazing.
Yeah.
Not just for the podcast here, but
Yeah.
you learned so much on there.
Yeah. I remember I tried to install my first floor ever, and I YouTubed it, and I was like, oh, this looks pretty easy. You just click it together. And I go in the store, and I'm like, yeah, it just clicks together. And so I got about half the room done. I'm like, this is not going well. What is happening? How come I could do this in the store? And YouTube made it look so easy. And my uncle came over and looked at it, and he said, you're installing it backwards. Like, okay. So then I had to rip it all out, redo it all. But it's a good learning process.
Yeah.
The best way
Probably
to learn is
won't do
hands-on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Probably won't do it twice.
No.
Not after having to rip it out.
Yeah. No, definitely the next home that I do get, I will be hiring a bit more of that out.
And are you looking to buy another one in, where was your first one?
North Park.
North Park. Well, that's actually a great area.
Yeah, so I grew
Very
up there.
up-and-coming.
Yeah, my uncle lives there, my grandparents live there, so yeah, kind of a lot of memories for me.
Anywhere close to the river, I feel is even on the west side here, in the southwest. That makes sense. Like Riverdale. Yeah, that's coming right back. With all the infills. Everyone renovating all these old homes. I mean, it's bound to go up.
Yeah, it's nice to bring some life back to an older neighborhood too.
Especially when they have like all that character. Like all the new homes with the cookie cutter.
I know.
They're just boring.
Yeah.
Right?
I love character.
And they knock down one home and they build the skinny talls, which is fine and everything, but there's something to say about an old character home too.
I like wide rooms. The skinny houses, I don't know. It doesn't feel very homey to me.
Yeah.
Just my personal thing.
Well, I agree. What's the next one?
So what gave you the drive to achieve this success and be entrepreneurial? Because that's a big commitment. 3 jobs.
Yeah. Well, ever since I was really young, I had the spirit, and I just knew that I wanted to do something. I didn't really know what. Sounds kind of ridiculous, but when I was young, me and my friends used to make these books, and we'd like draw pictures and make books, and we'd like sell them to our friends. And I remember it just gave me that thrill. I was like, yeah, I could do this. And I know that looking back, it seems kind of silly, but
no,
it's,
not at all.
it started quite young with me, and I always thought, if I had the dream job, I wanted to be a property investor.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Very smart.
And then you nailed it at 24. Nobody does that.
Yeah, it can be very difficult for people nowadays at that age.
So I think the drive was I had moved out when I was 18, and then come 23 or whatever it was, I had a breakup and I had to move back in with my family, and that really hurt me. I was like, I just felt like I kind of failed. And so I thought, I feel like I have to make up for missed time. And I said, this is what I want to do, so why not go for it? So, yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, in the moment of any time, if there's like some kind of a failure, it feels like I failed, right? But it's really not. It's part of the learning process, right? And I think everybody needs to go through some kind of moment where it makes them rethink their life, right? And sends them on a different direction.
Yeah.
So you're lucky you had that at such a young age.
Yeah.
It could have been much worse. It could have been 30-something and lost everything. And
yeah, we all have our own timelines.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here, let me ask a couple of these.
All right.
That's a piece of advice. Yeah, I guess that's the next one. What piece of advice would you give to others just starting out in, say, the mortgage broker life?
Becoming a mortgage broker?
Yeah, well, any advice you would give to somebody who's like, hey, I'm thinking about doing this.
Well, if it comes to the mortgage broker side like that, it takes time. A lot of people think it's an overnight thing, they're like, I can call up a couple of friends, do a couple of deals. Like, it's not that easy, right? So, first you have to study, you have to learn all the stuff, and then you have to kind of build your credibility slowly, meet people, network, things like that. It's not an overnight success for sure.
Yeah, no kidding. Everybody always sees the glam, but not the hard times. What about the investing in real estate then?
For new home buyers, I would say a lot of people, they look at, let's say, like a house in Stonebridge in the $500,000 range, and they're like, why can't I afford this? But it's not about that. It's about just getting started. Buying that house where you look down and you can see the basement, right? I mean, it sucks. Nobody wants to do it, but that's how most of us start out. So I was pretty impressed. I helped a new-time buyer in Regina, first-time buyer, and she was approved for X amount, and she found a house that she loved that was less than half.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I was pretty impressed with her. And, before we had the discussion, I said, just because you're approved doesn't mean this is what you're comfortable with. So I ran through a couple scenarios, what payments would be, taxes, heat, insurance, all of that. And she made a good decision. So I'm pretty impressed.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Good for you. And giving the right knowledge.
And good for her.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah, Regina is actually, they need a lot of people who are ready to invest in real estate and become landlords, clean up areas.
Yeah.
Do you have any advice for those people?
Not overly. I don't know Regina that well.
Okay.
But
so wait, where did you say that was? Where you helped that lady?
She's in Regina.
Okay.
Yeah.
So do you do
we just did everything virtually. So I
cool.
Yeah, so I can help all of Saskatchewan. I can technically help other provinces too, but we'll focus on one area first.
Lock this down.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Branch out later.
Yeah.
I love the remote work and virtual world now.
Yeah,
it makes it so much nicer.
Yeah, it is. In the world of Zoom, like that really took off with COVID and stuff. It's definitely helpful.
Yeah, even at my job, we can do a lot on Zoom. There's still a lot we can't
But even when it comes to getting a mortgage, like people have to call the bank, wait on hold, speak to somebody, make an appointment to go into the bank, and it's a very drawn out process where, you can just hop on a Zoom or a phone call and.
And can you negotiate with banks to get lower interest rates?
Yep.
Right. So that's why it's more advantageous for people to go through you than just going to the bank themselves.
Yeah. And so, like, let's say you want to do your own shopping, they're going to pull your credit at every single bank, right? So that's going to hurt you. Where if you just go one person that can look at all the options, that definitely helps.
Yeah.
What are the 3 most important habits to be a successful entrepreneur?
Drive.
Drive is huge. Yeah.
Big one. Accountability. Third one, just being honest with yourself, I guess.
Very good answer. Yeah.
Yeah, that's sometimes hard, being honest with yourself. Thinking I can do all these things, and when it comes time to it, it's like, oh, can I?
Yeah. That what is that? The 4 a.m. How did that go? It was like 4 a.m. attitude or something like that.
Oh, the 4 a.m. club?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. It's just if like everything kind of fails around you, and it's like 4 a.m. or something, are you willing to go to sleep? The hell with it. So if you don't have that drive at like 4 a.m. still, is it really the thing you're looking to do?
Yeah. I think deep down you have to know that that's what you want, right? And you have to be able to get up at 4 a.m. or rush to a last-minute podcast.
Yeah, I'll just say Carmen was able to fill in for Justin Morrison, and we're very excited that you were able to do that.
Yeah,
well, thanks for
super
having me.
duper last minute.
Yeah, like 30 minutes beforehand, and she's like, "Yeah, I'll get dressed, I'll come." So that was amazing. You know, she's the girl for you when it comes to mortgage broker.
Yeah.
What? I already said that. What are the biggest challenges of being an entrepreneur? Probably those same 3, eh?
Yeah. Well, for me, like social media is kind of a challenge. I'm not super tech savvy, so a lot of that is just learning all about that. I underestimated going in about SEO. Do you guys do?
Yeah, search engine optimization.
Whoa, there's a lot to know, especially if you don't want to just hire somebody to handle it for you, right? So I feel like I've put a lot of research into how that all works, and it's its own different game, right? So there's a lot of hidden things that you may not have thought of up front, right?
Yeah, I don't even know how to really do them for YouTube yet. And I've been talking to another guy. It's just like backdoor spots to put the SEOs. It's not just like hashtags
and every platform's different.
And there's like a whole studio.
And then at any time they can just change their algorithm and you're hooped.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so true. What other so the SEOs, the online platform stuff.
So I struggle a little bit with technology, but I'm learning every day, so hopefully I'll get a little bit better and better and go
the learning never ends.
Right?
Yeah, especially for an entrepreneur. You got to take on new roles that you never thought you'd have.
Oh my God, the amount of hats. Do you feel like you do multiple roles all the time?
What I didn't expect too is I find that I'm credit counseling a lot of people, which I know a lot of people don't do, but I feel like that's kind of my responsibility and job. So I can be talking with somebody for a whole year and they'll just text me, hey, is this a good idea? I'm like, well, no, this is why. and stuff, or maybe you should look at this instead of that. And
Wow.
yeah, so I never, going into it, I didn't really expect I was going to be doing that much of that, but it is kind of rewarding too to offer people good advice and how they can improve their situation.
That's amazing. The value you're bringing to people.
What is the most like common credit mistake people make?
Yeah, that's a good
Buying
question.
a vehicle before the house.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
We did that too on our first home.
Yeah.
And then we went to go get a mortgage, and it was like, oh, actually, you should pay off your vehicle. So we had to pay like $7,000 within like 3 days to be able to get our first home there. That was tough.
Yeah.
Yeah. Big mistake.
So don't buy a vehicle until you have a house.
Yeah. You still qualify for the vehicle afterwards, just not the other way around.
Yeah, that's so funny how that works.
Just touching on that a little bit more. Another option that people can look at is seeing if they can lower that monthly payment on the vehicle and extending it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I didn't even know you could do that.
Well, it depends on your lender, right? That sold you the car or whoever's doing your payments there, but that is an option to lower your TDS and then you might qualify.
Wow, all these acronyms.
Yeah.
What's
Sorry,
TDS?
total debt service ratio.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Wow, I'm learning so much. I love this.
That is one of the things I like about the podcast. We learn a ton.
Yeah.
We get to talk to people and we learn so much about different areas. I like that. So when did you first realize you wanted to be a mortgage broker? I guess you kind of said when you were a lot younger, you were into like the real estate side.
Yeah, so I always knew that I was interested in real estate. And, during COVID, I was kind of like, well, should I jump into becoming like a realtor? And I was like, I don't think that's really what I want to do. And so I hemmed and hawed about it for a while, and I was talking to my husband's friend that's a realtor, and he said, what about a mortgage broker? I was like, So I did a lot of research on that, and I was like, I think that is a good fit because it's still in the realm of my enjoyment, but it's not necessarily a realtor, right? I felt like that market's kind of diluted with people, and I wanted to stand out in a different way.
Awesome. Well, you definitely are.
Yeah. Well, if I could be a home flipper like you, but I install floors backwards and stuff, so I don't know how far I'd get with that. But
yeah, well, that comes with a whole nother stress level.
Yeah.
That's a whole podcast in itself. We can talk about that. But
I barely help with renovations. I painted one time and I did a very poor job, and I also helped with flooring one time. And I didn't last very long.
It's cool now that my son is like at an age where he can help out too, and I love that, because it's like free labor, right?
I like that too. It lessens the little jobs that I do. He can do those things. So when did you decide to take the leap to become a mortgage broker?
Well, we just had our first baby, who was 17 months old, so the plan was that I was going to go on maternity leave, and then I thought that's the perfect time to do my courses, study up, refresh, and then finish that up and started doing mortgages. So
that's exciting.
Yeah, I just thought the timing was kind of perfect. Being an entrepreneur, you do get that nice work-life balance that you can kind of choose, and if I'm going to do something, now's the time. I have a son, and I want to be able to go to his soccer games or go to his school play or something, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a big thing for me in planning my stuff, is that's one of the things I wanted to be as a mom, was the mom that always attended every game.
Right? We all want that.
Yeah.
It's just...
Son is very into sports, so there's a lot of games. I tried to be there for everyone.
That's
I've missed
a whole
couple.
job in itself. You'll see.
Yeah. Yeah, because once they get a love for sports, they just do all of it.
Yeah, and I heard when they get a little older, you start feeling like you're a taxi. You just got to drive them around to the different events.
Everywhere. Yeah. And then they want to watch their friends play, so you got to go to their games.
When did you face your biggest challenge, and how did you overcome it?
In mortgage broker or in life?
Either one.
Well, I don't know if I'd have my biggest challenge right now as a mortgage broker. It's probably just the availability of homes, which unfortunately I can't control at this specific time. In life, it was probably just that realization that I was like, this is what I want to do. And I got 3 jobs and I worked my ass off. And, I wanted to make sure that that was going to happen. So
it's very admirable. Not a lot of people have that much grit to do anything.
Yeah.
And you just buckled down and did that.
Yeah, so it was a lot, but I don't think I'd take it back.
Yeah.
And anybody that knows me personally, they'll say, you work too much. But, I also love doing it, so.
Yeah, we come up to a question on here about work-life balance, and personally, I don't believe that exists. If you are doing something that you actually love, it doesn't feel like work. We'll get into that. When did you plan to expand, or how did you plan to, or how do you plan to expand?
Well, time frame, I guess it just depends on our market a little bit. From what I'm reading, it's going to be another 5 to maybe 7 years before things go back to normal.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's eye-opening.
Yeah, I was just thinking that's scary to hear.
Right. It's not something we want to hear, that's for sure.
What do you think normal is then?
Well, just I guess the way they used to be, where we didn't have bidding wars and things like that, right? Where you could say, "Oh, I like this house. I can put in an offer, and you most likely will get it."
Yeah. So. Or even put in an offer that's slightly less.
Yeah. Right. Right.
Not way over.
Yeah, I heard a story a while ago. There was a house on the market for $299, and it had something like 55 offers on it, and ended up selling for like $415.
Wow!
Oh my gosh!
Right?
Wow!
So
could you imagine being the person that owned that?
Yeah, right.
Like, oh, I was selling for $290. Damn it! It went to $400. Jeez.
Sucks to be me.
Yeah.
I guess if you're a seller, though,
yeah,
what a time to be alive.
Yeah, I'm kidding.
But the problem is, most people selling, they also need to buy something else.
Yeah.
Right? Unless you're the older demographic that's trying to downsize and you can just pay cash or whatever. But
yeah, that one's blowing my mind. Pay cash. We bought a house with cash once, but it was just under $70,000. So like very cheap.
It was very problematic.
Yeah, oh my god. I mean, I wrote a whole book about it. It was awful. Yeah. The worst house I've ever seen in my entire life.
Well, you probably learned a lot, though.
Yeah.
That's the one I helped with the flooring.
Yeah, she did help a little bit, but wow, my patience wore very thin.
Yeah.
Because, like, usually in renovations, you kind of know what you're going into, right? And if you peel off a whole wall or a floor, you can kind of see. But then this one was like everything needed like even more work, like even down to the joists. I had to like redo. I was originally looking at like 1 or 2 joists, and then it was like 25 that I had to replace.
Oh, wow!
So basically the whole house. I was like, this is insane, and it was it was a lot to do.
That's the lesson, though. You get what you pay for.
Yeah. Did we already do the last? No.
I don't think so.
No. Why did you become an entrepreneur? What? I guess we kind of already answered that.
Yeah.
The freedom. Yeah. Let's skip that one. Why do you believe your product or service is unique to others that are already in?
Well, like we said earlier, I have drive. So when somebody calls me, I'm going to answer my phone, and I'm not going to wait a week like the bank to say, "Oh, come meet me at my office, make an appointment." I'm just going to answer the phone and do it. Right?
You answered me right away.
Yeah. And I was here in half an hour.
You were.
That was amazing. I gotta say, your speed and like even your tone on the phone. It wasn't like, "Oh, this is annoying." You were like, "How can I help?"
Yeah.
I love that. How do you navigate major challenges and setbacks when scaling?
It is a tough one. Mentors are valuable. Like a lot of people are too scared to ask for help, but a lot of people are willing to give help. So I do have a mentor for mortgages too. If there's something that I don't know, I can go to my group, which is the great part about TMG is there's so many people there willing to help you and, say, I've never come across this situation. What do I do? And they can offer different insights into different things, right? So it's nice we kind of work as a team, but we're also separate.
So mentors, very important.
Mm-hmm.
Good.
Did you have a mentor?
I've had many, yeah. I've never stayed in like one industry or one, like when I was working for other people, I never stayed in one industry or one business for more than 2 years. I got kind of absorbed all the knowledge I could from the bosses of those places. And then when I became an entrepreneur, I talked to other business owners and just met with them for coffees lots and just aired some frustrations and figured out other ways to do it that they had done. So yeah, I've had many mentors.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a wild ride. And then this helps too,
Mm-hmm.
even doing these podcasts, I hear other ways of doing things like acronyms that I didn't even know about.
Yeah, I learn something every time. I really like that.
Mm-hmm.
I've had like a handful of good legal mentors of other lawyers that I've worked for that have been really great. I'd say like 3 for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I get what you're saying. Most people are willing to help if you ask for it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why everyone's so afraid to be like, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like something.
Just human nature.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're afraid to maybe look like you need help. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
How do you build and maintain a strong team culture within your company? I realize it's just like you, but you are within another
branch of companies.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So they do all sorts of things. They did a bowling rally for cancer a little while ago. They have a 50K run for charity they're doing. So it's just kind of bringing people, all of us together, and then we participate in these events. And yeah.
And you like those?
Yeah. It's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I've never heard that one yet. Everyone's like, oh, we try to be accommodating to their needs. And you guys are doing like
actual team building.
That's great. How do you manage your time effectively when juggling multiple clients?
It's a hard one.
Mm-hmm. First come, first serve, or
I think obviously it would come down to deadline. Like if somebody needs their conditions removed in a couple days versus 2 weeks, you probably prioritize that a little bit sooner. I think it would just come down to the needs of people, right? So depending what their contract is stating and what their current situation is, I've helped people with the Métis program that they're like, I need to get the house done this year because next year my taxes are going to be too high. I won't be eligible. Things like that, just trying to work within people's time frames. And
how has that been going? You help some other Métis citizens get their mortgage. How does that happen?
In what sense?
Like so, there are programs available for Métis citizens. How does that work with them getting it and your role in that and getting the house and stuff?
Yeah, so I mean, generally somebody would just contact me and they'd say, I heard about this program. I've had people that completely handle it all on their own, and I've had people that I apply for them, essentially. So I fill out all the paperwork for them. I say, please review, sign here, and I send it in, and then I deal with all of the conditional acceptance, the acceptance, just on their behalf. Depends on the person, right?
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's very handy.
Yeah.
I try to make it as easy as possible for people. So
that's good. It's very key. Have you had a lot of people do that program yet?
Yeah, a couple. I'm working on a few right now. So yeah.
So if you're Métis, reach out to Carmen. She'll get you a house.
Yeah. $15,000 down payment assistance.
Yeah, and then they do the $2,500 for
closing costs. Yeah.
That's awesome. Mm-hmm. Now, is that limited to a certain cap of a house, like a certain dollar amount?
We need 5% down. So if you're just using the grant alone, that's $300,000. Okay. If you qualify for that with your debt service ratios and stuff.
Okay, cool. That's good information.
Mm-hmm.
How do you approach customer acquisition and retention? How do you get more clients?
Social media is definitely big. Just getting out there, talking to people, word of mouth. Friends of friends, clients that know people that are also looking. So yeah, it's just a lot of word of mouth and.
So do a good job and.
Yeah.
Good things come.
Yeah.
If you build it, they will come.
It's probably easier in like the city the size of ours. So we kind of have that like small town Saskatchewan feel, even though we're in the big city.
Mm-hmm.
Big city.
Yeah.
For Saskatoon.
But some of my Regina clients, they found me on social media.
Nice.
So
yeah. Man, yeah, that really helps extend the reach.
Yeah, right? It's so amazing.
Mm-hmm. If you're good at it. I'm terrible at it.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm learning too. Yeah. So
sometimes I question, I'm like, how were other people successful without social media, say 20 years ago?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was just a different way of doing things, right? You'd have to go meet every single person and
a lot of cold calling.
Yeah, cold calling.
That'd be hard for me. I love email. Put it in an email.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, nowadays too, with all the spam calls, you can't really cold call. It's almost turning into a dead form.
Yeah.
In a way, right? Well, if you get a phone call that you don't know who it is or it's coming from Toronto or something, are you going to answer it?
Nope.
No.
I had a big screener.
Beijing yesterday.
Yeah.
I feel like that was a big thing in the 90s, screening calls when voicemail just came out. Yeah. And then it sort of like went away and now we're back to it again.
Yeah.
Crazy.
So I will admit, if it's not in the Saskatchewan area code, I'm a little hesitant to answer.
That's fair.
Yeah.
How do you identify and capitalize on emerging market trends? So, how would that fit with your business?
Housing market trends?
Yeah. How do you capitalize when all this negative stuff is coming out or when it's super positive?
Well, staying up to date on a lot of that stuff is hard because there's so much information, right? So not only in just the mortgage financing side, but, the rental markets, the general housing prices, things like that, different rules that come out.
Yeah, the rules, hey?
Yeah.
I wonder, do you think they're going to change lots with whoever gets voted in?
Hard to say, yeah. I mean, hopefully they can make it easier for people. But
so, do you guys do emails to your clients?
Yep. Yeah, I can do call, text, email, Zoom.
I just mean like my brother's a mortgage broker, my brother-in-law rather, and he emails me like weekly, maybe even daily, of like all of these updates.
I do have a monthly email that I send out. I prefer not to spam people with weekly and daily emails like that because, you just send it to the junk otherwise, right?
Yeah.
So I try to keep it relevant and short, but yeah, that is something that I do as well.
How do you create, and this is that question, how do you create work-life balance?
Well, Angela and I were talking before. The funny thing about me is my enjoyment is actually doing this.
That's what I'm saying, right?
It's so lame.
No, it's not. It's not. I feel like
people are like, well, what do you do for fun? I'm like, I work. I like doing it. I'm sorry.
There's nothing weird about that.
No,
I
it's
think
good.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's like right now there's like this like work-life balance like push for everybody to somehow find this imaginary thing.
Yeah.
And I feel like if you love what you do,
it's not work.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
and then you
great.
don't need to balance it.
Exactly.
It's just already there.
But, on a different form, like I do kind of have to balance it with my son now, so I got to make sure that, I'm spending time with him and not just working all the time.
He's meeting with the clients now and taking the
Put
calls.
him in a little seat.
Well, he does play on my phone sometimes. I'm like, you should get you your own, just in case.
Well, I don't know. I feel like workplaces are becoming like a little bit more casual and a little bit more friendly. Like I've had lots of clients, bring their kids in with them when they're on holidays and stuff. And there's a lawyer here whose wife is a doctor. She is insanely busy all the time, but they have 4 kids. So he always has littlest ones with him. So she's been to a lot of meetings already at the ripe age of 4.
But I feel like in this day and age, you have to be more flexible.
Yeah.
Like so many people have different side hustles and stuff too. Like, how do you balance it all?
Or 3 jobs.
Yeah. 3 jobs.
Yeah, that must have been a very intense schedule.
It was, yeah. It was a very hard couple of months for sure.
Yeah.
But,
I applaud you for that.
Yeah, it's definitely worth it in the long run.
Yeah. So was that the trick to that? Like just a very rigid schedule?
I think I had to be at work, my regular job at 7 a.m. and then just clean the offices as quick as I could. I'd spend more time on weekends doing like the touch-ups and stuff just so I could, kind of do the basics, move on to the next. My 3rd job at Extra Foods, they were very flexible too, that, that coming in from 7 to 11 is not general hours that they would give somebody, but I had also been employed there for a few years before I had my other job, and they were willing to work with me, and
so this was 24/7.
Yeah, for a while it was.
Weekends too.
Yeah,
that's intense.
Yeah, still had to clean offices on the weekends.
Wow, there's some serious drive there.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so
definitely deserve.
It feels kind of nice now that I can take a step back and just focus on this.
Yeah.
But it was kind of scary for a while. Like when I stopped that and went on maternity leave, I was like, what am I going to do with myself? Like, I've been doing this for so long, but it was fine. Yeah.
I love that. And this has been a really good interview. I hope everybody gets some good advice from this and it helps you in your own life.
We usually end with, do you have any last piece of advice or information you'd want to give anyone?
For our first-time home buyers especially, if you can get that part-time job, I know it sucks. Nobody wants to do it, but it's not forever. It's just for a couple months if you can save that. Don't buy the car first. And just keeping your credit cards low. That's easier said than done, but a lot of people, they just worry about the payments later and it can come back to bite you.
Yeah. A lot of wasted money that way.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Carmen.
Thanks for having me.
Yes,
on
thank you for coming so fast.
Oh, you saved our butts.
Yeah.
So this has been the Global Falcons podcast. Thank you, Carmen, for coming, and we'll see you guys next week.